So after months and months of inactivity, the H3 vs Keemstar drama is finally back in full swing. The thing that prompted the resurgence of this drama was Keemstar's reaction to Jake Paul's accuser, Justine Paradise. So if you want extra context going into this, I recommend you watch that video first. But regardless, let's see what Ethan Klein had to say about this in episode 33 of his podcast, Frenemies.
The problem is you've got people like Keemstar, who's a popular channel, a news channel that somehow people take seriously, and saying shit like this publicly about the Jake Paul allegation.
And quite frankly, I do not believe the alleged victim. And I don't want to just...
Love that. Just right out the gate. I don't believe her. But wait till you hear why. This guy's done shit that would make David Dobrik look like a fucking, like, the Tooth Fairy.
And this is, like, current. Like, you know how people excuse,
exactly.
like, oh, 10 years ago. He's doing this currently? Like, in this, like, climate? It's so...
This just came out. And he actually has a history of being a rape apologist, which I'll show you guys. It's kind of wild.
Just cover this real quick on Drama Alert without getting some pushback. Maybe there's something I'm missing. Maybe I'm not seeing a certain angle to the story. That's why I'm making this Twitter video, so I can be challenged before I put it on Drama Alert in front of millions of people. But I just don't believe this story at all. Am I missing something here? Please.
Yeah, he's missing a lot. I mean, yeah, this is a rape apology right here, 101.
This reminds me of those, what do they call them? Like, was it incels? Like the Elliot kid that shot the school up? Like,
right.
that's
Roger
the vibe
Elliott.
I get from him. It's
For
just
sure.
like, definitely not getting fucked by whoever. Like, definitely is... he had a YouTube channel taken away once. Like, you know, John Miller's like not even his channel. Like, someone else
he got
did it.
banned like 5 times.
So how is he still allowed?
That's a
like,
great
even
question.
on Twitter, you know, but other platforms will punish you for things on Twitter. Like, if you dox someone on Twitter, like YouTube, like not YouTube necessarily, but like Patreon will like take away. Like, how is he on any platforms with this?
I agree. I mean, I fully agree. I think his presence is a danger to everybody, and the platform. You know, but like him coming out here and saying that you can't get essayed orally, that she should just turn her head away. It's like so dangerously ignorant. And it makes me think, when I see someone like this, it just makes me think like, oh, he's talking about himself.
For sure, yeah.
And his friends. Like he's got all these fucking like frat boy friends. And it's like, oh, yeah. Oh, and that dude's like, oh, this shit happens all the time. So none of us are essayists. It's like, well...
This will get me in trouble, but I feel like, because I know people are like, you shouldn't bring his kids into it. But like, honestly, this person shouldn't have a daughter. Like, this really makes me like scared that this is like the mentality that someone thinks like this can't happen at all. So like, if his daughter ever said something like this, he'd have that same excuse. It's like so scary that I don't know how these people can even be like parents, have like a child. And like, you know, I don't know. I know I get hate for it because you're like, shouldn't talk about kids, but like, that's so gross that this is a father of a girl. Because you know why? I know so many girls, like I had like essays and all that crazy shit that happened to them as kids. And it's like the same mentality that their dad had. It was like, well, you showed your boobs, so like you should be like asking for it if you got like groped by a teacher or something. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's just so... He's so gross.
No, yeah. It is sad that he has a daughter because, like, she's not going to get a good, healthy male role model. That's for sure.
It's so gross. Like, it's so embarrassing. And then if this is a troll, it's such a disgusting troll. Like, he's just trying to get attention. Yeah, I think maybe he's trying to get attention to drama or I don't know. Whatever it is, it's actually like
he has a history of saying, he really, truly believes this. But I'll say, you know, he says like, oh, Jake didn't have, it's not like he held a weapon to her head. It's like, dude, you're talking about a girl that probably weighs close to 100 pounds. And Jake Paul, who's been training for a boxing match, he's like 6'1", probably weighs like over 200 pounds. He is a weapon. He's the weapon.
She also said in the video, she said multiple times, she said no. So even if you do it just to get it over with, which I've done many times, it doesn't mean that you consented to it or wanted it. It still makes you feel less of a person.
She says in the video, it was all so shocking. It happened so fast.
Of course.
You didn't even realize what happened until it was over. That's what traumatic, shocking situations are like every time. Your unwillingness to actually even empathize with her a little bit. And then to come out and call her a liar just straight out the gate, be like, I don't believe her. I mean, this is the same guys who go, oh, we should believe all women. We should believe all women. But this bitch is a liar because she should have turned her head away. It's like, whoa, dude. A lot of people, for some God-knowing reason, actually look up to Keemstar.
Who?
Dude, I don't know.
Incels, people who shoot up schools and stuff.
I don't know, dude.
No, that's it. Like, I don't understand. Like, even Jake Paul's response was like a little more like...
if you guys don't know anything about Etika, you should look into that because that's one of the most tragic things that's happened on YouTube history. Keemstar, this guy was having a manic breakdown. Do you know about Etika?
We talked about it once, and I know we like cut it.
He was like a really sweet gamer kid, growing YouTuber, and he was having like a bunch of manic episodes. He was clearly bipolar, and Keemstar would bring him on his show all the time and parade him around in the midst of a manic state. One time, actually, he tweeted out the location of his mental hospital. And then when he got out of the mental hospital, he brought him on his show in the midst of a mental breakdown. And Keemstar says to him, you think that life is all a simulation. Why don't you just jump off a bridge? Keemstar wasn't saying, go jump off a bridge. But a few months after that, Etika jumped off a bridge and committed suicide. And I'm just saying, you look at his interaction with this dude, Etika, and his history of using and abusing people with mental illnesses. And you should see the tweets he's made about how he's literally tweeted, mental illnesses are made up just for people to get attention. Like, he doesn't believe mental illnesses are real. Ironically, being that he's probably got the most severe one of any of the people that I actually know on YouTube.
Yeah, there's something really wrong with him. I don't know.
No, the guy is a total sick dude.
I hate him. I think he's the worst because he like eggs on situations that he's not even involved with, right? We talk about James, talk about David, and like they are directly involved. He's not directly involved in anything. He just like eggs people on, like,
right.
Which is to instigate so negatively, and like this, like, again, this like 2021 where people are so like, you know, on edge and stuff like that. It's like dangerous.
He was defending David too before the article came out. He was like, David's innocent. David and all these people are innocent. Nothing happened. Nothing went wrong. What did he tweet? He tweeted something like, and he showed a message of him messaging David. He's like, don't let Ethan and Trisha win. I was like, I'm sorry. This isn't about winning or losing.
Yeah.
He's such
a nasty instigator. Like, just so like, ugh, it's just so gross. And people who watch this, like you said, the people who are like the little incel school shooters watching him will be like, yo, this is cool. Like, this is what we talk about. You know, that's why people like grow up like this, like Keemstar is, because they watch this shit.
Yeah,
it shouldn't even be allowed on YouTube. Like, I will never say that about any channel except for this. Like, you know what I mean? I don't think any other channel should be banned off YouTube except for literally Keemstar. Like,
well, Keemstar, after you falsely accuse someone of being, so there's this guy, RS Glory and Gold. He's a 6-year-old streamer minding his own business. Keemstar puts out a story saying that he's a convicted pedophile based on a photo. He saw a photo in a newspaper, a low-res photo, and it looked like this streamer. So there's this random 6-year-old streamer playing RuneScape, and he puts out a drama alert saying this guy's a convicted pedo, and everybody floods the stream telling him to kill himself and all this shit, and the guy was completely innocent. So after doing that, after the etiquette thing, after being a rape apologist, I agree. I think Keemstar should be deplatformed.
He's like the lowest. Yeah.
He really is I think so too.
Especially the making of the pedophile thing, like people could go kill that person. Like it's not just him killing himself, but people will like try and kill him. And,
my God. It's horrific. You know, and he just will openly lie about shit. Like he's lied about me saying that like I stole hundreds of thousands of dollars, and he refused, and he will not remove the video even after I've shown that, like, dude, that's just, you're fucking straight up lying about it.
What do you do when someone literally just makes up lies out of complete thin air? Like, what do you do?
Well, you can sue them for slander, but I don't want to go down that path.
Keemstar, I feel like he will push someone some sort of way and maybe won't be as forgiving as other people in the past have been, and like he'll get like sued, he'll lose everything he has, like something bad's gonna happen, and it's like,
I don't know. He's pretty much done all the worst things possible.
But if you're egging people on and instigating, I mean, it's bad like that. Well, we watched it, the little Etika part. I mean, in his voice, you could see, like, I hate to use this word, but like him getting like triggered and like Keemstar like pushing, like not caring.
Dude.
And it's like so hard to watch because clearly that person is like, he's really feeling something. Instead of de-escalating, he just keeps pushing and pushing and pushing. And that's like the most, like, it's the most dangerous thing you can do to someone.
That's his hallmark. I mean, dude, it's hard to overestimate how damaging this guy has been to people. You know. It's incredible. It truly is.
A lot more was said about Keem in that podcast, but I'm not really interested in taking their entire show and just pasting it onto my channel. So if you want to see the rest of it, I recommend going to the actual video. They start talking about Keemstar around the 36-minute mark. As for the context around everything else they were talking about, I know the old man streamer stuff was talked about in this video. As for the rest, I know I've talked about everything they mentioned on this channel, but it's honestly so much and across so many different videos that I don't know which ones specifically to direct you to. Maybe just watch the entire Twitter versus content nuke series, I'm not sure. Again, we are so deep into the H3 versus Keemstar lore, it's just so hard to keep track of it all unless you've been paying close attention up until this point. And any recaps Keem or Ethan may give will be biased to either side, so I guess the best way to keep up with all of this is go back and watch my older videos, or hear both Ethan and Keem's side, and use common sense to find the truth somewhere in the middle. Typically what Keem avoids addressing, Ethan is right about, and what Ethan avoids addressing, Keem is right about. Anyways, Keemstar responds to all of this in a series of Twitter videos titled, Ethan Klein's failed attempt of destroying Jake Paul.
Hey guys, I tried to make a Twitter video explaining all of this, but it is impossible to do in 2 minutes. So I'm going to do this voice memo thing. You know, the tweet after this will be part 2, part 3, or however long this is. But, you know, basically Trisha Paytas and H3H3, Ethan Klein, have been on a war path to take down YouTubers. And there's always some reason behind it, right? So with the first one, I mean, Trisha had a problem with David Dobrik. She has been trying to cancel them for years, failed attempt after failed attempt. But when her and Ethan get together, you know, they were able to find some legitimate dirt on David Dobrik. Now, the Seth kissing thing, like, you know, I don't know how I feel about that. You know, when we had proof that Seth was asking for another kissing prank, I'm sorry, but you kind of lose credibility on that. But the stuff with Dom was legit. You know, they found some legit dirt on David, made David look bad. And they were able to cause a lot of damage to him. And I agreed with the stuff with Dom. I mean, I did a whole drama alert with it. So, you know, they didn't have a problem with me. However, they went after the sponsors. They went after all of David's sponsors. You know, they worked with these reporters. They worked with the Def Noodles or Defamation Noodles, who was constantly putting out, you know, false stories on David. And, you know, they went after the money, something that no YouTuber does. No other YouTuber goes after people's sponsors or, you know what I'm saying, right? So then James Charles, right? Now, again, with the James Charles situation, I agreed with them. I think James is guilty. You know, he admitted to 2 of these scenarios, but they just didn't stop with covering the story and voicing their opinions. No, they went after they ran campaigns to go after Morphe, right? And again, they're working with real life reporters, something that YouTubers don't really do that much, right? To go after the money, go after the sponsors, get statements from YouTube, get statements from his sponsors. And, you know, James Charles lost Morphe and everything else. So they were on this war path, right, of just destroying YouTubers and taking them down. And again, I'm not saying that these YouTubers are innocent, right? I agreed with the aspect of David Dobrik. I agreed with the James Charles thing. I just don't agree with attacking YouTubers' money, attacking their sponsorship, or attacking YouTube for having them in the partnership program. I don't agree with that, and no other YouTuber does. So then they get to Jake Paul, and there's these allegations on Jake Paul. And, you know, they're gearing up to take down another YouTuber. They're working with the New York Times, and they're working with Def Noodles, and they have these allegations, and they're getting ready to take down Jake Paul right before his fight. You know, it's interesting how this came out right before the Ben Askren fight, right? And I looked at these allegations, and I had serious questions. Like, I had a lot of doubt on the validity of these allegations. And so they weren't successful at all in destroying Jake Paul and taking Jake Paul down. And I think they think because Keemstar had a different opinion, they weren't going to be successful. So now I'm assuming they must be thinking to themselves, well, we need to take out Keemstar. If Keemstar is still there and he has a different opinion, we're not going to be able to just dominate and control YouTube and take any YouTuber down that we please, right? Because they're coming out with a brand new episode. And I know this because, you know, members of the H3H3 Trisha podcast or whatever, they get to watch these episodes, you know, early. And I have a copy of this episode from a friend. And the stuff that is being said about me is unfreaking believable. Now, we all know about the tragic death of Etika. And, you know, Etika's mother came out with a statement. The first time Ethan tried this, you know, trying to accuse me of killing Etika, and said that, you know, Keemstar is not responsible. And the family, the friends, the ex-girlfriend, the current girlfriend, I mean, all these people have come out and said, please stop using Etika's death as a pawn in this little beef between, you know, Keemstar and Ethan. Like, he's been told this a million times. But on this new podcast, he goes on to say that Keemstar told Etika to jump off of a bridge. No, I did not. No, I did not. He purposely changed the word of cliff, which I really said, and we were talking about simulation theory. And I was like, simulation theory is dangerous because if you really believe that that's true, like, why not just jump off a cliff, right? So in his explanation, he changes the word cliff to bridge and then goes on to say, and a couple months later, Etika jumped off a bridge. Now, that was deliberate. And he said that, Keemstar has horrible takes on mental health, and which is true. That is true. I have had horrible takes on mental health in the past, which I've publicly come out and saying that I was wrong and that I didn't understand this and that I will try to grow as a person and try to understand this mental health stuff more, which I have done since. So, and then he says that, Keemstar, all he does is use and abuse people with mental health. Now, 17 minutes later, in this same podcast where Ethan says this, he's talking about doing an award show, with Trisha Paytas. And he says, what if we gave out an award for the biggest mental breakdown? And like, what if we awarded it to Gabby Hanna? Like, you can't make this up. He just, 17 minutes earlier, he just said that I use and take advantage of people with mental illness. And now he wants to give awards for the biggest break. You can't make this stuff up. They also went on to say that I should be deplatformed on every single platform. They went on to say that I don't deserve to have a daughter. I shouldn't have a daughter. My daughter should be taken away from me. I mean, this stuff is wild. And I guess the reason why I'm putting this out is just so, my viewers and my fans have a little bit of context. But also just so, like, I mean, that's it, right? Like, I want you guys to truly understand what the motive is to attacking Keemstar now. Like, it really boils down to, we were supposed to take Jake Paul down and we were unsuccessful because Keemstar disagreed and had doubt about the allegations. That's what's going on here. And God forbid, if for some reason I do get banned or get erased off the internet or retire, whatever, if I'm not here anymore, these guys, Def Noodles, H3H3, Trisha Paytas, and these reporters that they work with and they platform will control this entire community. It will be one opinion. These guys with these James Charles and James Charles and David Dobrik stories, they have created a hate mob, and they're just directing it at whoever they want, whoever they decide to just take down, and it's really scary. And they're hitting me with this social justice stuff where you're supposed to believe all victims. That is insanity. Every case is an individual case, and you have to look at what facts are available and you have to give your honest opinion on that, right? You can't just say all victims are truthful and all allegations are truthful and it's 100%. You can't do that because what's going to happen is because there is going to be an allegation. There is going to be something out there that's against a YouTuber that destroys their entire career, right? And then we're going to find out that it's not true. That's just as damaging to real victims of sexual assault, rape, whatever, right? You have to look at every case on an individual basis. So I don't know. I just wanted to kind of vent and tell you guys what's going on. And yeah, dude, I don't know what's wrong with Ethan. He's so careless, absolutely so careless. And all this stuff is just going to bite him in the ass in the long run. And he really needs to get a little smarter. That's it.
A couple hours later, Keemstar then makes another Twitter video titled, "What's wrong with him?"
I'm in actual disbelief. Like, Etika's family, Etika's friends, Etika's real fans that used to actually watch him and watch his streams have all asked, Ethan Klein to stop using Etika's death as a pawn to attack me. His mother came out with a statement saying that I am in no way responsible for the tragic loss of Etika. And he's still doing it. He just made this big rant and said stuff that I've never said. And listen to what he says here. This is unbelievable.
And I'm just saying, you look at his interaction with this dude, Etika, and his history of using and abusing people with mental illnesses. And you should see the tweets he's made about how he's literally tweeted, mental illnesses are made up for people to get attention. Like, he doesn't believe mental illness.
I did not tweet that phrase. I have had bad takes on mental health, which I've acknowledged publicly because I just didn't know enough about it. And I've changed my opinions, and I apologize for some of those takes. But let's continue.
They're real. Ironically, being that he's probably got the most severe one of any of the people that I actually know on YouTube.
Really
he's saying that I have a mental illness now.
I don't know.
No, the guy is a total sick dude.
Okay. So I exploit mental illness. That's what Ethan just said. But in the same podcast, people, this is the same podcast. Look, same title and same everything. Listen, he's talking about doing an award show and he's thinking about an award to give out. And listen to what he says. I'm going to be very quiet so you can hear in detail.
Greatest metal breakdown.
I don't think they're going to show up.
Well, let's say, but they might. Like, let's say Gabby Hanna is nominated for greatest mental breakdown. She might show up to accept.
He wants to do an award show for greatest mental breakdown. Does he not think before he speaks? He literally just got done accusing me of exploiting mental. What is this? How does anyone take this guy serious? I don't get it.
Keem then tweets out, Ethan Klein, Keemstar is a frat boy with frat boy friends and fans. Trisha Paytas, Keemstar's fans are incels and school shooters. Paraphrasing, but both statements were made on the exact same podcast episode. Can somebody explain this to me? He also responds to somebody who says, why are you even on this planet anymore? Nobody wants you here. Anyway, praying for your daughter. And then highlights them by saying, H3H3 fans. And that's about it for the drama so far. Well, not exactly. There's a lot more we need to talk about, including Gabby Hanna's response to the podcast, but this video's gone on long enough, and I think that would be best saved for another video, so if you don't want to miss that when it comes out, be sure to subscribe with notifications on. As for my opinion on all of this, obviously there's just so much here to dissect that I can't explain it all right now, but I did give my opinion over on my second channel, Bo Black's Beta, in a 1-hour live stream that I did. This is something new for me, just testing it out, so if you guys want to go over to that channel and give me some feedback in the comment section of that video, I would appreciate it a lot. Just as much as I appreciate my channel members for supporting the channel. In particular, Scrubby, who has donated $100 a month. But with all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in another video.